come to see her anymore. And then there reached a point when I talked to the people at Oakwood and I said, I'm coming to see my sister. Now, if you want to like roll her to the front door and we just look at each other through the glass window, that's okay, but I need to lay eyes, on my sister. And, I feel like, God opened their hearts and they said, okay, when you come, we're going to approve for you to have an outdoor visit. So during the time that I was there, we were able to visit outdoors. And then on the day that I was, leaving to come back to Texas, I said, sister, are you ready to come to Texas? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, give me a couple of weeks. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, but give me a couple of weeks. I'm going to figure this out. And 10 days later, we were in a medical transport van, which I didn't even know that was a service that existed, but we were in a medical transport van with 2 drivers and a nurse, and 20 hours later, she was living in Texas. And one of the things, there's so many things that I think, but among the things that I think, it's like how life has gone, kind of full circle. Because when our mom went back to work, it was just, me and Beverly, because we weren't allowed to, have friends over when our mom wasn't home, and we weren't allowed to go out and play when our mom wasn't home. So it was just, the 2 of us, playing together and sister do arguing together, and just, it was just the 2 of us. And then in the last, days of her life, it was just, once again, it was the 2 of us, me going to visit her, and I will always be honored that when she took her last breath in this life, I was sitting right next to her, holding her hand, and, so just thank you. Just thank you to everybody. Thank you to the Clark girls who came to visit her in Texas, and thank you to all of you who continue to call her, and just thank you for all your faithfulness and all your love and honors.
Amen. Amen.
And as you guys know, Beverly has been a part of this church for, almost 50 years. It's just been a long time. So there are some letters. This is from the Church of God in Jackson, Michigan. To the family and church family of Sister Beverly Pride, we at the Church of God, 140 West South Street in Jackson, Michigan, would like to offer our sincere condolences to you at this time of loss. Sister Beverly will be greatly missed, but one thing is for sure. She was faithful down through the years, through good times and bad. She always pressed her way to the services and to the out-of-town meetings despite her failing health. Sister Beverly was very proper in speech and conduct. She was articulate and left us an example of courage and deep love of God. We truly appreciate her, and we will miss her greatly. However, heaven has gained another voice in that heavenly choir to sing along with Sister Speaks, Sister Melanie, Brother Clark, and oh so many more that have gone on before. We pray God will comfort the family during this time of adjustment. Sincerely, Pastor Lee Hampton and Congregation, Church of God, Jackson, Michigan. This is from the Church of God in McDowell, Georgia. To the family of the late Sister Beverly Ann Pride, we were saddened to learn of the passing of your sister, aunt, cousin, and relative. Sister Beverly was faithful to God in all her duties in the Grand Avenue congregation as the Sunday school superintendent, choir member, and president of the Board of Trustees. God used her skill as an accountant in the good stewardship of the finances of the church. As superintendent, planned numerous interesting, enjoyable trips and camping outings for the Sunday school children and the saints. During her affliction, she truly sought the Lord without distraction. As many as God would permit, she continued to attend, as much as God would permit, she continued to attend local services, fellowship meetings, revivals, and other church-related functions. She will truly be missed by family, friends, relatives, and saints. Lovingly and prayerfully submitted, the Ministry and Saints, Church of God Congregation, McDowell, Georgia. This is also from the Church of God, Columbus, Georgia. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Psalms 116:15. To the family of the late Beverly Pride, the Church of God in Columbus, Georgia wishes to extend our deepest sympathies to the family, congregation, and friends who knew and appreciated Sister Beverly. Sister Beverly wore many hats. She was a Sunday school superintendent and chairwoman of the trustee board at the Grand Avenue Church of God for many years. She was faithful and dedicated. When you think of Sister Beverly, she was classy. She carried herself in a way that demanded respect, and in turn, she treated all with that same respect. She gave her heart to God as a result of hearing the good news of the gospel from her former college roommate, Sister Mel. She was far from home with no other relatives near. But she cast her lot with the people of God and remained in the way until she departed for her heavenly reward. Denise will be praying for you and your children as you face the days ahead without your sister and your aunt. If we can be of assistance, please do not hesitate to contact us. Sincerely, Pastor Mark A. Wood, Church of Congregation, Columbus, Georgia. And this is from the Church of God here in Springfield. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Psalms 116:115. Dear Denise, Maya, Anthony, AJ, family, and friends, we, the Grand Avenue Church of God, wish to extend to you our heartfelt sympathy in the loss of your sister, aunt, family member, and friend. We first came in contact with Sister Beverly while she was a college student at Wittenberg. She gave her heart to the Lord through the witnessing of Sister Melanie Clark. She quickly became a pillar in Zion. Sister Beverly was a classy, intelligent, yet humble woman. She was a woman of great accomplishment in her career as a certified public accountant at Dayton Power and Light. Many of the young women in the congregation aspired to be like Sister Beverly. Sister Beverly was an avid traveler, not only domestically, but internationally as well. Sister Beverly was a faithful saint of God. She served the congregation as a choir member, Sunday school teacher, and Sunday school superintendent, member of the Board of Trustees, and later as chairman of the Board of Trustees. Sister Beverly inspired us with her fiery, inspirational testimonies and prayers. We will miss Sister Beverly, but we find comfort in knowing she is with her Lord and Savior. Family, you have our love and prayers. In Christian love, the Grand Avenue Church of God Ministry, Board of Trustees, and Congregation. And then we have another letter. Oh, I'm sorry, I think that's a copy of the same one. So, thank you.
Denise mentioned my aunt, Dolores Cruikshank, who wanted to be here really, really desperate. So she sent a letter, and she wrote, I have known Beverly since she was 2 years old. She came into our family's life at a time when we had not had a baby in our lives. for at least 10 years. Therefore, Beverly became everyone's baby. That included my middle-aged, never-married cousin Leonard, who would come and get Beverly every Wednesday for an excursion of which the whereabouts were known only to the two of them. They would come back with Beverly fast asleep and Leonard carrying her on his shoulder. But my favorite memory is of Beverly herself, sitting in her little rocking chair going back and forth, singing "Glory, Glory, Hallelujah" when I lay my burdens down. She would sing this as loudly and heartily as a 3-year-old could. And when my mother asked her why she chose that song, she replied, "I just like it." And so from Dolores, she says, "So now, my dear Beverly, rest in peace as you sing your song. You have laid your burdens down and entered into eternal joy." And I just have to say that reading this from my aunt Dolores, I was just reminded that there's a stanza of that song that says, "I feel better, so much better, since I laid my burdens down. I feel better, so much better, since I laid my burdens down." I know she feels so much better.
Amen.
I'd like to add something too.
I first met Beverly in the 70s, probably 1974, I believe it was. We went to college together, and we ended up being roommates with Jill. Some of you remember Sister Jill and Sister Nell. We had a house on campus at Wittenberg, and we really became good friends there. I ended up being in the same room with Beverly. I was on the top bunk, she was on the bottom bunk. And I do remember falling out the top bunk. But Beverly was still fine. She had a sense of humor, but it was subtle. But we still, were friends and all. I appreciated Beverly because the main thing was, even though her name was Pride, she wasn't a proud person. She wasn't someone that would strut her stuff or really make you think, wow, she's so educated, she's summa cum laude and this and that. Her gifts made room for her. She didn't need to just boast or anything. She just was Beverly. I appreciated that much. And she was faithful. As a friend, she was very faithful. I had known her through the years, till I went back to Columbus, but I really enjoyed the years I knew her. And that's one thing I could say. She was very faithful, stick-to-it person. If you told her something, it was never spread around. She was very either private, she was not a gossip. I really appreciate that about her. And she was frugal. I appreciated that. And she loved beautiful things. She kind of reminded me a little bit of Sister Green, kind of. And she was very ladylike. I really appreciate that. I thought she was British because of the way she spoke when I first met her. But it turned out she wasn't. She was just from Ohio. Midwesterner. And I just really liked her and all. I really appreciate her. That's why I drove all the way out here by myself. Usually I don't drive that long. But I really appreciate getting to know her. She was a good chapter in my life.
Amen.
We'll have remarks from any other family at this time. Are there any other family that have any expressions?
take us on a trip to Branson, like without my mom. It was the first trip that we took, for just me and AJ. But we actually got to meet Leonardo DiCaprio, which was really cool. She took us to the Titanic Museum and got to explore like how the Titanic and everything was. And it turned out that Leonardo DiCaprio was in disguise as our lead and stuff, our tour guide, which was really cool. And we all got really happy about that once we like found out that it was actually Leonardo DiCaprio. But I think my favorite memory of that trip is, I don't know if you guys know those t-shirts, you can get your name airbrushed on them. But my mom would never let me get those every time we went on vacations, and that was the one time Beverly let me get that t-shirt that I always wanted. And it made me so happy, and I still have that t-shirt. And yeah, I love Beverly. She's so bright. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
If there be no other expressions from the family, are there any other expressions from friends? You can come forth at this time.
I thank the Lord for Sister Beverly. My prayers to Denise and your family. Many years ago, Sister Beverly was the Sunday school superintendent, and sometimes she would need help, and I remember Brother Kimberly would say, ask Cindy, get Cindy, ask Cindy to help you. And so she would ask me to help her, and then one time she was out for a period of time, and she came up to me. She knew she was going to be out, and she said, Sister Cindy, I want you to stand in for me. And I looked at her, and she said, you can do it. She said, I have confidence in you. That really touched me, that she felt that way, and so we would work together with Sunday school and different projects and whatnot, and sometimes, I'd come with her with these big ideas, and she'd kind of shake her head, she said, Cindy's way over here, and I'm way over here, but some way we come together and we have a good program. And so a couple of memories I have, we had a camping trip, Saints were on camping trips, and so I would usually stay late, everybody's gone to bed, and I'd leave. And then I'd come back in the morning, I was on the breakfast crew. And so she said, well, stay this time. I got a tent, and I got a big air mattress, and stay in my tent with me. So I thought, well, okay, we're going to see how this staying in the tent business goes. So someone had put up the tent, and we had, she had a mattress. Somebody put up the mattress. That mattress was a twin. It was a little twin. And guess who was sleeping on the ground? In the tent, I was sleeping on the ground. I said, oh my goodness, she didn't know, but it was a twin. I said, oh my goodness. I said, Lord, please don't let me have a backache when I wake up. And I didn't. It was all good. It was fine. And then another memory, we went on, the Saints were going to, I believe it was Escondido. So I'm not sure what state we were in, but it was just a whole lot of cactus plants. And I wanted to stop and get a cactus. I kept saying, I'd like to stop. Look at the cactus. I'd like to dig one up. They said they were plentiful on the road. No one was paying me any attention. It was like I wasn't even talking. So when we finally got there, some of us decided to go over to Tijuana from California. So she and I were walking around and shopping and whatnot. And so finally she went in a store, and she came out, and she said, Cindy, here's your little cactus. This is the cactus, I still got it. She knows I collect glass and crystal, so she got me this little cactus, so this is precious to me. But I appreciate Sister Beverly I have missed her wisdom and her advice, and I still do. So, thank you.
It was very sad to hear Sister Bev passed, and she brought back so many memories, thinking about her. Well, I guess we met about in the 90s, I'm not sure, but I started to love her very quickly. And we had so many things in common. First, we were both single, and we went to college, got saved about the same time, but I was out in California and she was here. And I think we met about in the 90s. And she came to Escondido meeting and I was there too. And but that Saturday I had a rest home service. I said, would you like to come up to my rest home service? So she came with me up to Fontana. And that was like about a 2-hour trip. And she gave up her time to be at the service there. So we had a big time. We went to the rest home and then we took a trip out to the coast and went back down to the meeting, and we had so many interesting experiences there. Other things that we did the rest home service in common. We both worked in the Sunday school, and her place and me out in California. We were both on the board, church board, and we did the rest home service. And we both we love to travel, and so she wanted to take a vacation, get away from maybe the cold of Ohio to come to nice sunny California. So she got a week's off, so we arranged a great big trip up the coast. We went to Kennedy's and the Reagan Museum, got on Air Force One, and fun things like that. We went to some of the national parks. We stopped at along the coast. We spent a lot of time watching a whole bunch of sea lions, and we didn't watch the time. So all of a sudden it got late, and so we had to go up the coast yet. And we went, and it turned out that it was socked in with fog, so we didn't see anything except the white line down the middle of the road, and that's all we could see. And it was scary. It was dark, besides being foggy. And we finally got to the next place where we decided to stop and get a motel. We went and saw the monarch butterflies up there, and then we went over to Yosemite. That's what she wanted to do, was go to Yosemite. So we